Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today's February 6th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see there's Seattle, Portland. Check out the next storm system. It's going to be moving up across Oregon and pushing across some of southeast Washington, Idaho, and Montana. We've also got another one diving down out of the northwest as well. It's going to be impacting portions of our area. As we go through Friday night into Saturday, we'll take a look at those details, and then we've got another round of Arctic air coming down across British Columbia, probably pushing into much of the Pacific Northwest. We're going to remain colder than normal and some very chilly temperatures showing up as we go through next week. So stay tuned for that. We'll take a look at the latest. Taking a look at the windy app, we still have this surface low kind of hanging out here, and things were just a bit too warm here for places like SeaTac to get accumulating snowfall, but some of the surrounding areas did get some accumulating snowfall and some heavy amounts up there as well for some areas. Now, if we take a look at the Fraser River outflow, it is still ongoing. You can kind of see the easterlies meeting up with the southerlies here across some of the Puget Sound as we speak. And if you want a nice affordable home weather station and help support the channel, click on that link down below to save 10% off. Great smartphone app. Highly recommend it. Lightning detection system with it as well. Now, taking a look at where we are right now, you can see the next system already starting to pour into Northern California. This will be moving across Oregon as well. Show the timing on some of that. We still have some of these showers here going on across some of Washington state as well. Some of these are still producing some snowfall amounts, but that should be wrapping up here as we go through the morning hours. Just kind of a cruel 33 degrees here at SeaTac right now, just on the warm side of things. Again, it makes a world of difference where you are temperature wise. So that's where we are now. And take a look out there on US 101 State Camp Hill. Looks like there's some snow on the roadway at times, so be careful if you're traveling out and about there. This is Aaron Green up there in Linwood. Check it out. Several inches of snowfall, 31 degrees this morning. Definitely some pretty intense stuff for some locations of the Puget Sound here last night. So yeah, big time snowfall out there. Now, this is the next round coming through Pendleton, Oregon. Look at this updated 4 a.m. You can see some mild to heavy snow for eastern Oregon and far southeast Washington tonight through Friday afternoon. So have your travel plans ready to go. You guys know your snow driving tips. And this is for some of southeast Washington. This is Spokane, Washington. You can see Walla Walla maybe 3 to 4. Lewiston, Pullman getting a bit. Winchester, and there's Lookout Pass, maybe another couple inches of snowfall as well. And if we take a look further off, you can see here is Boise is right there. Generally less than an inch expected. Bigger amounts across the higher terrain. And this goes through tonight through Friday, 7th. 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time here. They got the winter weather advisories. Does not include Boise and Mountain Home down there in the valley areas, but watch out for those hazardous driving conditions elsewhere, especially if you get off further east. You see Ontario 3 to 4. Look at Baker City 3 to 4. Ontario 2 to 3. Sorry. Yeah, and there's Unity out there getting 3 to 4 inches. There's Burns 4 to 6. Now, this is the National Weather Service office in Seattle. Look at this, an inch of snowfall officially there. I have 2.8 inches at my house, but I did not get any with this last round. You can see the old style rain gauge there as well, and the nice snowboard with the snow measuring equipment here. I did this for many years officially for the National Weather Service. Fun stuff. And now, I still kind of have a hard time believing that this is what I saw yesterday, but we saw a couple waterspouts on kind of the leading edge of the gust front here. You can kind of see this skinny one right there, but look at this tube that just kind of came out and lasted for a few minutes. Didn't look like it made landfall, but this is near Arroyo Heights in West Seattle. If you saw something out there, please let me know. I know it was very dark and we had to increase the exposure on here, so I don't know if anybody would have seen this, but it did indeed kind of spin right here on the water, but it didn't. I don't know if it went and made landfall, but you can see some of the agitated float back into what looks like a pretty robust water spout. And again, there was this one. There's also one back off to the left earlier. And then you can see the hodograph here. You can see the southeasterlies turning southerly, nice shear in the atmosphere, and probably just enough CAPE to help kick that off. We know there was CAPE because there was a big lightning strike and a thunderstorm, and you could see the updrafts going on. And the surface of the Puget Sound is a bit warmer, so that might have helped contribute to some of that convective available potential energy. And this is the lightning bolt I caught. Hit Vashon Island out there. This was several minutes before that water spout did occur, and a few minutes after the one that occurred closer to Whidbey Island on the east shore over there. So yeah, still in kind of disbelief with what I saw yesterday. Now, taking a look at what is to come. So here we are dealing with the blurb coming down, the system out of the northwest. You can kind of see the kink there at 500 millibars. That's moving down across Pacific Northwest. But look at this ridge all the way up into Alaska here. And again, we're going to have this cold north flow making its way back down into the Pacific Northwest. And then you see the polar lobe kind of taking a swing at us. Again, a very cold flow here out of the northeast. Cold air around, pushing down into some of the Pacific Northwest as we go on in through next week, and kind of see it hanging out for a bit as well. Might even get a little bit of a reinforcement as we go through next week. Also, we'll be watching that closely. But now we're looking at the GFS on the right, European on the left. In fact, let me do this because I want to make sure this is the European ensemble that we are showing. That's a 060. There's a GFS. So this is probably the best model tool we have looking out in the mid-range of the forecast of European ensemble members. The average of all 50. This is 850 millibars, about 5,000 feet. It shows you the Arctic air mass that we're kind of dealing with across British Columbia, how it's spilled out over the water, and it was developing our low pressure system there. So here we go on into Saturday evening here, and then we scroll off in towards about Sunday evening. You can see again another shot of Arctic air coming down, pushing out into some of the Pacific Northwest. GFS and its 30 ensemble members are in very good agreement. So we are going to be cold through next week and some very chilly overnight lows. And again, depending on this cold air track, it depends on whether we're going to get some snow with the arrival of this Arctic air or not. It's on the dry side of things right now, but we'll continue to watch this for changes. And if we look at total snow in Kuchera, I just want to kind of show you what's going on with this next storm really quickly as well. I mentioned some of the snowfall amounts across eastern Oregon, Idaho. This kind of gives you a visual representation of how it may clip southeast Washington and then push off across Montana. And now as the system drops down to the northwest, you see some of these bands again trying to show up across the Seattle metro for some measurable snowfall. So we're going to do kind of this marginal thing again here Friday night into Saturday morning with that next system riding down. We're going to take a closer look at that tomorrow morning on Friday because that is a very marginal system and it's not a lot of snowfall showing up. So anyway, looking a little bit closer there, I do want to kind of show you this as we go through Friday. You can kind of see it showing 2-3 inches for Seattle and some additional amounts, but we're gonna pay a little bit more attention to that tomorrow. We get a little better look. Now, looking at the European, this is total snow. Again, the European did poorly with this. The temperatures were a little bit too cold on the European, so it kept showing snowfall for SeaTac. We did not get it. We did not get measurable snowfall here. We did for some of the outlying areas and some areas up north and whatnot, and across some of the Olympic Peninsula and things like that. But it did a poor job here. It's kind of a strike against the European as far as the amounts of snowfall that we're flying. Now we scroll off and you can see the next system ride up, and then we look on into Friday. It shows additional rounds here across some of western Washington, a little bit across western Oregon, and then we go on into Monday, and it also wants to bring some snowfall down the Puget Sound there. That would be a little bit of a different setup here because that would be associated with a modified Arctic front and cooler temperatures for that. We'll be watching that one very closely over the next few days. Now, if we take a look, I just want to kind of show you, there's wrapping up today. There goes our storm system off to the east, and there's Friday night into Saturday morning system there. You can see some bands of snow with that one, but again, very marginal temperatures there. And then as we go into Monday, watch this. It's not much, but you can kind of see it. That would be that modified Arctic front, kind of a weak low pressure system spinning down the Oregon coast, trying to bring a little bit of snow back in here, but looks like mostly a dry intrusion with the next Arctic air mass, but it is indeed very cold. And if I show you that, I'm going to scroll out to Monday here really quickly, and we're going to take a look at that because you'll see that we're going to kick off the Fraser River outflow again here at some point on the day. Very early on the morning Monday, you see it kick off, and then we turn the things kind of northeasterly down the Puget Sound. Then we start to get the north flow, and there could be that modified Arctic air boundary somewhere here across western Washington, and you kind of see that cyclonic rotation on the leading edge of that Arctic air pushing down across some of northwest Oregon as well. So we'll watch that very closely over the next few days. And European, again, did not do too well here with the temperatures. But as we go on into Monday, I just want to kind of show you really quick that we are dealing with much colder temperatures as we get towards Monday. Let me scroll off in here. There we go. There goes Monday afternoon right there. Monday morning right there. You can see the chillier temperatures around with the arrival of that colder air. And then, again, we're going to have a hard time getting above freezing for some locations as we go off in towards next week as well. And showing you that here, look at Spokane. This is the ensemble on the European. I mean, look at this. You could get below 0 Fahrenheit with this next air mass. Just brutally cold temperatures. And look, some of the daytime highs not even showing getting above 20 degrees Fahrenheit as we go through midweek next week. This is Seattle struggling to get above high for the daytime highs, and some teens even for SeaTac, which of course would mean colder temperatures for some of the surrounding areas. You definitely got to watch your pipes and things like that and stuff freezing over outside. And then if we look at Bellingham, of course, very cold there, struggling to get above freezing next week. And we'll continue to watch for systems that may be trying to come back into this cold air mass at some point next week as well. But look at Portland, down into the lower 20s as well. And if we look at the national blended models, this is the parent temperature, so it's something kind of fun to look at here. You can kind of see British Columbia, those are Alberta, and Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana. So let's scroll off towards next week a little bit here. And as you see, as we go on in towards there's next, actually we're scrolling a little bit too far, and it's jumping across some of the, let me go ahead and reload this here because it's jumping around a lot. It may have not have been done loading. So here we go on to Sunday. There, it looks a little bit better. Now we go into Monday, and you can kind of see, look at this, as you're going through the day, Monday, the apparent temperature very chilly across the region, and when you get to the white there, that means you're below 0 Fahrenheit wind chills. So we got to watch for that. And then look as we go into the overnight hours on Monday night into Tuesday morning, those encroaching down into eastern Washington, eastern Oregon, very cold across western Washington, western Oregon as well. Now we go on to Wednesday morning, and again, very cold out there. Look at these sub-zero temperatures out across eastern Washington and Oregon, and the cold air will be with us as we go through next week. Some pretty good agreement on that. The ensembles are in very good agreement. And when all things said and done, this is probably going to be a La Nina year, no doubt. It does have the La Nina look here, and we're getting some upwelling here off the coast of South America. And this is where we record those ENSO conditions there, whether we're determining if it's an El Nino or a neutral or La Nina year. But it does have the look there, and it's acting like it right now in the Pacific Northwest. 6 to 10 day, in case you missed this yesterday, has not updated, but you can see the below normal for north. And then they have this above normal here for 6 to 10 day. We'll see how that turns out. And then the 8 to 14 day as well remains below normal in northern states, Pacific Northwest. And I got this above average signal there also. And the experimental product, I don't think that has updated yet as well. But hopefully you can start to keep those mountain snows going. So when we go into the spring and summertime, we have that nice snowpack up there. But anyway, what else? Click like and subscribe. We will do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.